Hey everybody, it's Brandon Quaid, and I'm doing my second episode of the Quaid Difference. And if you want to know what the Quaid Difference is, it's something we've used for hashtags for years. But what I think separates our store from other Harley stores is my people. And so I think that's always the difference, is the people that work for me, the people we hire, what this is you get to know my people. And so I'll introduce to you today is Rocco. Rocco is, now it's a nickname, yeah?
Nickname,
Rocco.
It's been forever. The whole family, friends, everybody.
And I bet you wouldn't guess his real name, but I would never guess it was Paul. But, right?
Yeah, people don't.
Only your mom calls you Paul.
Don't. Even my mom doesn't call me Paul.
Rocco's it.
Well, her nickname for me is something else too.
Okay.
That's a whole other story, man.
All right.
It's a whole other story.
So anyways, that's what the Quaid Difference is. And what I like to talk to, my people about is, first of all, why you work at Quaid and how you got into the business. So let's start off with you. I want to start with you, Rocco, because you're, to me, a very interesting person. Now, if you don't follow Rocco on social media, you should. The guy is everywhere. And what is your social media? What's your Instagram, for example?
It's the social media is really only Instagram. It's the X_Rocco, RACO_X.
What I find interesting about you, Rocco, what is how much you actually ride. But we'll go back to, kind of going back a little quick background with you. You went to school, and we talked a little bit. You went to school in Mexico.
Yeah, right. Born and raised in Mexico.
Born and raised in Mexico, but you were coming back and forth to the U.S.
No, once my parents brought me over, my family, it started with like my grandpa.
Okay.
Early 80s, going to San Pedro, working the ports.
Okay.
And then eventually my parents came over, so it was like a back and forth, and then at one point they just
so
hunker down.
So that's your background, and then where'd you grow up when you came to the U.S., or when you come over here in Inland Empire?
It was Inland Empire, the Ontario area.
Okay.
Always in the IE.
Okay.
Correct.
All right. Always in the IE. So, along the way, you're growing up, and I'm not sure what you've done before Quaid, but you've done a lot of construction, right?
Yeah, I've done construction, welding, fabrication, working in machines with composites. Yeah, okay. I've done a lot, man. I had a lot of hands-on world.
So let me get right into it. When did you get into the motorcycle community? Because let me tell you, Rocco you got to understand, motorcycling, it's for everyone, right? I say that when I talk about being in the motorcycle industry and people say, what's the difference? I say, well, look, there's certain things that I do that other people won't do. I surf, right? There's only so many people are actually going to surf, right? Snowboard, or the activities that so many people are maybe physically able to do or even going to have the opportunity to do. But I think what separates motorcycles from everything else is that I believe that everyone's welcome to come into this community, right? So once somebody gets in this community, what does that mean, right? Some people will take it as, a lot of guys, I find them that they're builders and they're very little riders. They just like to build things. I've seen guys do it for years. They build a bike, and then once they get over that, they want to sell it, they want to build another bike, right?
The tinkers.
Yep. Then I find the builder riders. I find some people are a lot of solo riders, right, in our industry, right? You get a lot of people that, I got some of my old timers, and I kind of find myself a little bit somewhat that way. I ride 90% by myself. It's just the way it is. I enjoy riding motorcycles that much. Then you get people that do the weekend thing, do once a month thing, going into who rides, black, brown, white, women, doesn't matter. Anyone can ride a motorcycle. I believe anybody that has the ability, go through a training school and ride a motorcycle. But then you get into some more people that, become more of a lifestyle. And then I think there's Rocco, right? Like, it's really your lifestyle.
Yeah, man.
And you've only worked for us for how long?
I've only been here for a couple months.
Okay, so Rocco's very new. And so I'm going to mix it up with employees. Some will be here. Last one, Kelly's been here working with me longer than anybody ever has in their life. You've worked with me probably less than anybody at the store.
Correct.
But I want to introduce you because I watch you in the motorcycle industry. It's really a lifestyle choice for you, right? This motorcycle thing. So when did you start get it? When did you say I want to ride Harley Davidsons? When did that happen for you? Who introduced you to motorcycles?
So the person that introduced me to motorcycles initially started when I was young in the 80s.
Okay.
You know, no helmet law, just out there raw dogging wind.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Right.
So that was in the 80s, but I bought my first Harley Davidson in 2005. And my whole thing was I was already I had dirt bikes and street bikes, right?
So you're already a motorcycle guy.
I'm already into the industry. I'm already buying product. I'm building my own toys. But then it's like, at one point, I'm like, I want to get me a Harley.
Sure.
And in 2005, none of my homies had Harleys.
Okay.
And I said, I want to get one.
Yeah.
Why? Because now I'm ready to step it up into that level, to that world.
Did you feel like going from like dirt bikes? I mean, I was on mopeds, and my dad never knew how many times when we were kids we're riding around scooters around neighborhoods, and he didn't know any of that stuff because we didn't have social media, we didn't have trackers. It's like we got away with a lot when we were kids. But moving to the Harley, you thought that was like, I'm moving to the big boy world of motorcycling, right?
Yeah,
that's what it felt like.
It did. It definitely. But in the age area, with all my boys, you get a lot of shit. You know what I mean? A lot of your boys are like, hey, well, you're not gonna be able to keep up. It's a slower bike. I'm like, I'm gonna do it.
Now, were you into sport bikes?
Yeah, I was in sport bikes for a lot.
Okay.
For many years.
Okay. So you were in the sport bike scene. Now, when I say were you in the scene, I'm gonna just take a guess for you, and I don't know, but I mean, you guys are probably popping wheelies, doing stunts, having meetups, that whole thing.
The whole thing, man.
Okay, so you were in the lifestyle scene of sport bikes.
Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know because I started out with Harley, right? I mean, I was 19. I rode when we got this store. I went on my first ride at 19. I've only cut my teeth on Harley Davidsons, right? So I experienced a little sport bike world when I'm on the track, but how different is that scene?
It's different, definitely different because just on a safety aspect for the most part, the big picture here, when you go to a Sturgis, you go to Daytona, you go to these big rallies, you see a heavy amount of people that they're loving life, enjoying the ride, but tank tops, maybe even shorts.
Right.
I go to Hawaii, everybody's wearing sandals. No one's really wearing gear.
Right.
But when we were on the street bike, in the time I was in street bike, everybody's wearing helmets. Everybody's wearing their leather jackets. Everybody's wearing their pants. Everybody's wearing their elbow guards, back guards, knee guards. So I did all that. Why? Because we also I put myself along with some of my boys in that danger zone where we're doing wheelies and doing this, and it's like, you gotta be ready for the consequences.
We're the same age, so we're 42. So in 2005, how old were we? I mean, we're 23 years old.
Mid-20s.
Yeah, 22, 23 years old.
Yeah.
So 23-year-old man on a sport bike is dangerous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's dangerous. Motorcycles, you can say, are dangerous anyways, but, but switching over, kind of jump in, they say, like, safety part of it. I always tell people there's an old biker, those little stickers, they say, loud pipes save lives.
Pipes save life.
I mean, let me ask you a question, like, how many times do you think your pipes on your Harley saved your life?
Oh, every day.
Yeah. Right.
Every day.
Right. So when people talk about motorcycling dangerous, and I'm not one to say that riding Harleys aren't dangerous, but if you lump in, kind of going off a little bit here, but when you lump in safety and Harley Davidsons, or safety and motorcycles, if you were to eliminate sport bikes, I think the percentage would be a lot lower on Harley Davidsons for accidents prone, and it's just the way you ride them, right?
So since I've been riding in 2005, and I've been almost strictly Harleys, I've had no more accidents.
Oh, that's beautiful, man.
Hopefully I don't get no more, but prior to that, my street bike days, dirt bike days, I've had multiple accidents. I got hit on the freeway twice. I've looped my bike, broken ribs, broken legs, broken shoulders. I've had a lot of broken things.
But on the Harleys, you've been good.
And on the Harley, to this day, been good.
So 2005, so we're approaching 17 years riding Harleys. Okay, so who got you into Harleys? Just you? Just the thought? You said
it was the thought.
Okay. So
I grew up.
Did you have any family members riding, or was it?
No.
Okay.
No, my uncle had already moved back to Mexico, so it was me growing up in the 90s, just like yourself.
Yeah.
It was big, like the whole greaser look was coming back.
Yep.
I remember.
You're talking about the Hispanic greaser look too, right?
Yeah.
I remember being in high school, and I don't know what they called that, but it was called like Rebels.
Yeah, they had the whole Pomador action going on.
I loved it, man, because it was funny because I was a senior in high school. You bring that up. I was a junior in high school when we bought Dale's in San Bernardino, and I remember a lot of Hispanic scenes. They called them Rebels, and they just started coming to the school with Harley boots and Harley shirts on, and we had just got the Harley store.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, that was just badass to me. I thought, here's a whole genre of Hispanics that, I mean, let's be real. When we grew up, I mean, in the Inland Empire, you either were kind of outcasted or you looked kind of maybe like a little cholo or not,
Yeah.
But all of a sudden the rebels started coming through, probably like 95, 6, right?
Oh yeah.
And did
was
that
hard.
kind of influence you?
That's a big influence, but it was right up my alley because I've always loved bikes. And now that I could get my personal like style, I had a reason to go buy Harley boots. Even though I didn't have a Harley, I had a reason to go buy me a Harley belt buckle. I didn't have a Harley.
Yeah.
So to me, when I first bought my street bike to be out on public,
Right.
spending $3,000 was easier in my pocket than spending $23,000 on a Harley.
Right.
But when I got to 2005, when I was financially stable, I'm like, I think I could finally actually afford a Harley. And when I bought that Harley, I grew up as a kid in the 90s, living that lifestyle. I was like, I'm gonna grow up one day and I'm gonna make sure I buy one. And that was the goal that was set in me.
Yeah.
Like, not only am I wearing it, I want to be able to actually represent it right.
Well, I think that's it sparks all my memories up. It was very, there weren't many people in the, early 2000s that were in their 20s buying Harleys. I mean, we see it in SoCal now. I mean, and I'm more praise to you youngsters out there, but buy Harley, man, because one of the tragedies I see a lot of my customers through the years, like, they're late 60s and I've been waiting my whole life for this. I'm like, you've been waiting too long, but it's not too late, so yeah, no, I see that. Like, and so I was a big kudos to you in 2005 to be in your 20s and be the first person to buy a Harley Davidson in your group.
In my clique, and every time I went to San Diego, and every time I went to LA, and different places I went to visit buddies, I was the only cat showing up with the Harley at the time.
Now, were they dogging you a little bit?
They're just giving me a little tease, like, man, you can't keep up with us. You can't keep up with us. But then I would get praised because they'd be like, oh, man, that bike goes hard.
Yeah.
That goes hard.
Yeah.
I mean, that chrome popped out. I mean, that's when chrome was extra.
Sure.
Now it's black is extra.
Yeah.
But mine had all that chrome. It just popped. And I hated that whole Chicano vibe look with the white walls, the chrome, the sarape. So it looked really good because of the colors. It was at the time it was called the Black Pearl.
Right.
So that color just popped.
Right.
And
now, were you me? Because when I first rode it, I mean, I took all my Heritages before it was even a deluxe. I would strip the Heritage down, slam them, ape hangers. I had the German helmets. That's how we rode.
That was it.
So all youngsters out there and on your Dynas and FXRs, which we're all part of that too now. But that's the way it was. I mean, there was some Dynas, but no one. When we bought this store. Probably about 12 years. Full facers people weren't wearing full face helmets. Maybe some old club guys. That was like, I came from, people taking pictures. That was really where full face came in on the Harley scene, is the old club guys didn't want to say, hey, I've got you on videotape. Say, that wasn't me.
Yeah.
I wearing a full face, right? So besides those guys, it was an open face deal, novelty helmets. I still have my very first novelty helmet to this day. But that was the scene back then, right?
I still got mine too.
Yeah, that's cool.
Got mine.
A couple of my buddies lost them on the freeway, and it was a funny story. I'm looking back and I see my buddy. We were hungover, we were young, and I don't know what happened. I see his helmet fly off on the 91. So I was in Yorba Linda. We rode all the way home from Riverside, and he didn't have a helmet. But that was funny things. I don't see it happen anymore. But I saw helmets flying off those novelties. I don't know if they're cheaply made but.
Well, the trick was that back then a lot of the ones that were just selling like hotcakes were the ones with the clips.
Right.
I never bought any of the ones with the clips.
Right.
I made sure I bought the ones with the actual links.
Right.
Well,
and I always noticed, like, hey, what I would do is I always wore the bandana and I'd put my novelty on, and that made my helmet stick. Yeah. And that's getting back into my days, because I didn't realize you've been riding Harleys that long. So, so now you're in Harleys. You're 2005. Now, when did your buddy start buying them?
So it was maybe a solid year and a half to 2. It took a little motivation into like them saying, you know what, we're gonna give it, because they seen that I was actually enjoyably going everywhere. Like I could go to Texas, I could go to Arizona, I could go to Nevada, and I'm still there riding, and I'm a lot more comfortable versus being a little bit of that hunch. Like, you're not truly comfortable on a street bike going to Texas. You're not.
So I'm going to kind of talk about why I think why I'm interviewing Rocco too. Is I do believe you're made for this business in a lot of ways, because you're so involved. So when I say lifestyle, if you follow Rocco, I mean, I'm going to ask you, and I'm going to take a guess. You have a lot more rides. When I say rides, I'm talking about epic rides under your belt than I do, probably than most. So talking to you and what caught me is not surprised, but you've been back and forth to New York 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me your first long ride. Like when did you start riding? Did you start riding long distance rides right when you got Harleys?
Shortly after, in 2008. For me, that was me pushing like my limit.
Okay.
Because on a Rocket, you're within SoCal.
Yeah.
And then also here in Southern California, the bike scene is just huge. I mean, you know that.
Right.
You know, it's just huge, the amount of things that always happen, events, charity, at the
Do you miss any?
VFWs.
Do you miss any?
No, I don't miss any of it because I never lost it. Just
No, I'm
because-
saying, do you ever miss an event? I don't think so.
Yeah, I do try to hit as many events as possible, especially when they're good cause.
Okay,
You know that.
so what's your longest ride?
So my longest ride was a straight shot from Southern California to West Virginia in 2 days.
2 days.
2 days. And that was like, I got to get there.
2,700 miles?
Something like that.
You did 2,700 miles in 2 days?
Yeah.
Wow.
So the goal was, because
Did you do it by yourself?
I did myself, 100%.
Okay.
So the goal was, I made a deal with the wife.
Yeah.
Because she's like, go with your guys, because you always, it's safer to go with other
Right.
people, right? Like,
Right.
if something happens.
Right.
But I'm like, it's last minute. Not everybody has the ability to take these days off.
Right.
And I told her I'm taking 6, maybe max 7 days. So the goal was to get there. I was gonna meet up with some of my buddies there, barbecue, party, do whatever. We were gonna go right over to Pennsylvania,
Okay.
get some Philly cheese, whatever.
Yeah.
Go say what's up to Rocky, run the stairs, and then right back. So I did it all in just a little over 6 days.
Wow, that's incredible. That's a lot of riding. So if anybody knows about riding, doing 2,700 miles in 2 days is incredible. Now, let me ask you something. Like let me give you guys a quick story. So Rocco's only been here a couple months, but about 3 weeks ago, you've got this goal. He's hot on 100th anniversary motorcycles, and he found one in Texas. And he goes, "Hey, look, I found a bike in Texas. I'm going to buy." I said, "Cool. When are you going to get it?" He goes, "Well, I'm going to fly out Sunday." I said, "Well, you need Tuesday off." He said, "No, I'll be back to work." So you flew into Dallas, took a car about 50, 60 miles out north of Dallas.
Yeah, to McKinley.
McKinley, you bought this motorcycle. Rocco rode straight here to work. And you took what? And how many hours was that?
It actually was longer than expected because of the fact that I got my ass kicked because of that sun through Texas. But it took me a solid 25 hours to get here.
And you took one break
I took one solid break.
for about an hour.
About an hour.
And then, I'm being nice and I say, "Hey, do you need to go home?" No, he stayed and worked all day. So I don't know, you got some tank stuff in your blood, So that's awesome, man. You, like, when I raced in Utah, you were there. I was, even the other day we were talking about it. There was a run, the La Raza run, and we start working here at 9:30, 10 o'clock. Marcos from IE Baggers did a ride to LA early in the morning. I didn't know, but you got up and went on the ride.
Yeah.
So what time? You rode to LA and you rode back to work before we started work.
Yeah, so I met up with the guys. I got up at 5. Met up with them at 6 a.m. in San Bernardino. Did the whole morning meet. Rode out towards LA. Wanted to meet up with the guys because it's just
Right.
the whole community, good peoples.
So let me ask you a question. What does motorcycling do for you? Like, what is it? Like, what, because look, you're a lifestyle guy, right? Like, when I talk about people about lifestyle, it is your lifestyle, the motorcycle community. I'm sure you got other things that you do too on the side and with your family that aren't motorcycle related, but probably not much. I think you live your life in the motorcycle community, right? What is it like when? Does it almost feel like it would? I mean, I know how it's got to make you feel happy. But have you ever thought to yourself, why do I enjoy riding motorcycles this month? Or is it just something
No,
that's...
I love riding motorcycles because it really is, to me, the most therapeutical experience, period. When I'm at work, anything with the family, if anything, for whatever reason, just kind of stresses me out or say I'm just kind of overwhelmed for whatever reason, if I ride, it relaxes me.
It relaxes you.
And it really, I feel at peace when I'm behind the wheel. Whether I'm by myself or with a group of guys. It feels great when you're with your group of boys.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, because you got already maybe a destination in mind.
Yeah.
But when you're by yourself, and me, I love riding by myself. I have no problem hitting all four corners of the United States by myself. Because for me, it's therapeutical.
Yeah.
I love being on the bike. It doesn't have to be my bike. I could like when I bought that Road King.
Right.
It wasn't set up the way I wanted, but I still rode it back to Cali. To me, it's like almost like endless miles. Like I could sit on my bike and just until I'm done.
Well, I think so I talked to a lot of my friends when we were young. What happens with a lot of people. You ride up with 5 of your buddies, and you run up to a bar or something. There's 1 or 2 of your buddies, and the next week they're back at my store and they're buying a bike, and they would think, this is what you guys do all the time. You just ride with people everywhere you go. I want to do that. Then they buy a bike and they realize that only happens so much, right? So what I always try to tell my friends, like, if you want to buy a motorcycle from me, buy it for yourself first, and look at why would you want to ride? Like, don't think you're gonna buy a bike and you're gonna ride Brandon Quaid 3 times a week. That doesn't happen, So looking at your friends, like how many jump in, but now let me go back and now go to something else here. You're a founder of a club, right? And it's not a 1% club; it's a family club. And what's the name of your club?
Sinlin Motorcycles.
Sinlin Motorcycles. And how long you guys been around?
So we started in 2000. Well, the whole group, the core of us, we all linked up in 2003. Those were the OG guys, the other founders, and the idea was we want to start something that's homegrown.
Okay.
And the idea was just to be kind of like just here, a local riding club.
Yeah.
And you fast forward all these other years, the club has evolved to where we're a motorcycle club now, and the idea started here in the Inland Empire. Hence Sinlin.
Right.
Sinlin Empire.
I got you. That's where the name came from. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean,
inland with a little twist there.
A little twist.
Okay. I didn't know that.
So it's just with the boys here, like the OGs. This started with me back in the days that we all collectively started. We're still in it.
That's awesome.
We're still in it.
That says a lot.
Yeah.
Now you say family. You say a lot of military guys.
We have a lot of military guys because God bless all the military. Thank you all you guys.
100%.
All my brothers out in San Diego, Temecula, all the military guys. That was a big part of the backbone. Was all the Marines that when we first started the club.
Yeah.
I mean, we have other branches now.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, that's awesome. I think one of the other things I'll probably say it on more of these, but I think that like I said, I think that buying a motorcycle you can get jaded in the business. I've been doing this for 25 years, but I remind myself of things like having a Harley Davidson makes you puts you in something bigger than yourself, right? And if you don't have a sense of camaraderie, or you need, you just playing bored. But what I notice is that, especially military guys, right? Like I said, God bless the military. I medically couldn't go in. I wanted to do in the military when I was younger, but knee reconstructive surgery and got in the family's business, and that's been good to me. But talking with my guys, I'm part of a foundation, Warrior Built. I'm on the board of directors, and I get to talk to a lot of military guys, and I always feel at home with those guys. But the sense of camaraderie you get in the military, and since when you get out, sometimes some guys feel that just gets ripped out of them, or it's just something lost there. So I think it's always been since the Harleys, since the days of their beginning of the 20s and 30s, the military has been huge for Harley Davidson. Huge. And I think it's really because of that sense of community, right? Like a brotherhood, and it sounds like you have a good club that creates an atmosphere where I'm sure you guys have all been through up and downs together, but it's a brotherhood. You're taking care of each other. And that's awesome. So it's good to hear.
Well, the amazing thing about it too is that all the guys from the military and all my brothers they already have that core structure of like how things work.
Sure.
And then when you get out of the service, you miss that.
Sure.
You're running around blowing leaves and cutting the grass. Like, what the fuck? I'd be doing something else, man. Let me get with my boys and go ride the bike. And when we all get together, we have that structure, discipline. We get together. We watch out for each other.
Well, I think discipline's important. I think having some discipline in your life's important. And like you said, if you don't, people think it's funny. Like maybe some of the new generation doesn't maybe know as much about discipline, but I think when I wrestled as a kid, when I did martial arts as a kid, like I thought the thing I loved the most was discipline. I appreciated a coach or an instructor being hard on me, because I thought it was going to be good lessons of life. So that's a good point. I see that. So, all right. So I'm going to have some, let's see here. Let me ask you a question. I'm going to go here. Do you have a favorite ride?
My favorite ride, yes.
What is it?
My favorite ride is not too far from here. It's called the Rocky Point Biker Rally.
Okay.
And it's friendly for the way I just pronounced it, because that's the title.
Yeah.
But it's also called the Sonora Puerto Peñasco.
Okay. And you told me that you want to take me there.
It's man. Like, I've been to tons of rallies here, man. And I've done them multiple times. The most recent one was the Sturgis, but the level of rally this isn't the.
It's not the quantity.
It's not the 300,000 bikers showing up.
Right.
It's more like the 10,000 bikers, 20,000 bikers showing up, meeting in one spot, and making the best out of it for 3 days nonstop. And truly nonstop.
Okay, so going on that, how many times you've done Sturgis?
I've done it twice. I did the 70th anniversary, and I did the 80th anniversary.
You've done the Biltwell run down in, where's that at?
A Diablo run.
You go to the Diablo run?
Yeah.
How many times you done that?
I've done that, I believe this was my 4th time or the 5th time.
4 or 5 times down Diablo run. Where's that at?
San Felipe.
In San Felipe, Mexico. You've done Sturgis 2 times. I mean, you've done Puerto Peñasco.
Another one that's really big is the Sinaloa Semana Santa. And I've also been to that one.
Okay, that's in Mexico.
And that's from here to there. It's, if you're going with a group of guys, you're gonna take anywhere from 2.5 to 3 days to get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sounds awesome. You sounds like what we're talking about a lot, because you have family in Mexico. You ride down there all the time.
Yes, I do.
You're riding in Mexico all the time.
Yeah, I'll go hit up Mexico. Stop being scared.
We were talking about that. How when I go to Mexico, I feel like Mexico is like, I hate to say it, but sometimes I feel more free in Mexico. Let's be real. I mean, I enjoy it. I mean, we talked about, if you just conduct yourself the way you should, like I think anybody should in someone's country that's foreign to them. I think I'm even more respectful when I go to another country. I feel like, I'm not getting into it, but I feel like, hey, if you're going to get in trouble in someone else's country for doing something bad, then that's on you. You know, I mean, I go down to Mexico. I probably blend in. One of my buddies, we call ourselves the Gringo Banditos down there. I really love Mexico. I don't go there a lot, but I feel loose down there. I haven't ridden down there yet, though, which I'm going to have to do.
Well, like you said, you go to I don't care what country you go to, if you're going in there just to have a good time and be respectful to the locals, you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
If you're going to be like anywhere, you could be, a mile from your house at the local bar, and if you're going to be a jackass, well, that's how you can get treated.
I could probably talk to you a long time, so I'll probably do another follow-up one. So I don't want to, I don't want to keep, because I think I can talk to you numerous things about rides and whatnot. Some questions here. This one's from Dakota. Do you have a favorite coworker?
Do I have a favorite coworker? Well, I haven't been here long enough to
you don't have to answer that
coworker.
One. Just say it's Dakota and you'll be happy.
Thanks for the question, Dakota.
I think I already answered Canessa's what made you ride, your favorite long rides. That was from Celine. So people have questions for you. A couple interesting things I asked about you. Sharing more personal things with you, but we talked about it. You've been sober.
Yes.
Been sober for eight years.
Hence my Instagram name. So the X is on the end of my names, the beginning and the end, that represents sober.
Oh, okay.
So that's something that people probably don't even understand, right? Because
Right.
they're like, well, I don't know what that means.
Right.
That's just his name. But the straight edge means the X.
Okay.
So yeah, I've been sober for a little over 8 years now.
8 years.
A little over 8 years now.
Well, and what I think that's awesome about when I'm talking about someone like, I got a couple friends like you that are sober. A lot of sober riders, a lot of people I think they use motorcycling. Not you, because you started out and became sober riding, but I've seen a lot of people use it as a reward through the years. I don't know how many customers I had said, Brandon, I've been sober for a year. That's why I'm buying this motorcycle today. And I'm like, that's awesome. And I always made a promise that I wouldn't ride, not sober. I don't personally ride and drink and ride. I mean, I've had a couple beers and stuff, but I am not one to get on my bike no matter what if I know I'm past the limit. It's just because I know you call it whiskey throw, I'll call it what you want, but I don't care how many. You're just looser and you're heavier handed.
Oh yeah. Most definitely.
So what I like about you though, what I respect that is that I don't see any judgment in you whatsoever. When somebody a lot of people say, I'm sober, they're trying to push their sobriety on someone else. I don't see that with you at all. And matter of fact, if you don't follow, Rocco on his social media or pay attention, you would think, oh, you're partying everywhere you go and partying. But I'm thinking, well, how can you ride this much and you're partying and you don't? That surprised me. I asked you the other day. I didn't know you were sober.
Well, I'm down to stay, 3, 4, 5 in the morning up with you, but that doesn't mean I'm gonna be drinking. And then I'm ready to go in about an hour. I'll take a power nap and I'm ready to go.
Yeah.
So that's what a lot of people, they catch me on the streets, are like, "Hey, Rocco, let me buy you a drink." Like, cool, I'll take your club soda.
Right.
What?
Yeah.
Nah, bro. Like, that's me, man. Sorry.
Yeah, you kind of remind me of me. I don't need 8 hours. I just need to feel rested, right? So, what was it Arnold Schwarzenegger said in one of his motivations, like, I need 8 hours of sleep. And then I say, sleep faster, right? So I don't think you think about, I need to sleep this much, right? Some people get obsessed with sleep. I'm just not that way. Maybe once a month I crash out for all day because I burn myself out. But, that's, anyways, I commend you for your sobriety. And you don't wear that with a badge of honor. It's not you as you're going around saying, hey, I'm a sober rider, but it's cool to find out that it is in your name on your social media. And so you are proud of it. I think it's important for someone out there that doesn't think they can go ride around sober and have fun.
It can be done. Trust me.
You're an example of, you probably enjoy yourself more. I got another buddy, Roji. And Roji's, swears to me, if you'd stop drinking, you can do more things and have more fun because of that. You probably have more memories of riding because of that.
That's the key right there.
Okay,
That's
right?
the key right there. You have more memories, and you have a clear recollection of what happened the day before. Yeah, so most definitely.
Well, I might park my bike and lose some clarity because sometimes I'll participate and having fun.
And I'll tell you what, if that's your kick, I'll be right there to help you out.
That's good. Yeah, because I remember when Laughlin was going, I don't know, I felt like it was rude to turn down a shot from my customers, and I happened to run into hundreds of customers in Laughlin, and so I'd have to, I'd pay the price. But I've always had good times with my customers, and I enjoy this. I enjoy this business. So it kind of brings me, one thing about our family is we're accessible. We're here at our store, right? And the Quaids are always at our store, and we're, and I don't pretend to be the smartest in the business. I'm pretending, like I tell people, I don't pretend to know more than most people. I've done it longer than most, but I am proud to say that I probably know my customers just as good, if not better, than most Harley stores out there. And that's always been important to me, because I think if you're running a business, you go through ups and downs in business, but when you're trying to run multiple business, and I call it finger on the pulse, if you don't have your finger on the pulse of your business, then you're not knowing what to do if something happens. The pulse that I register is my customers, right? Where are my customers? Are they enjoying themselves walking through my store and all this and this and that? But with that going said, I just had to ask you, because I've had a lot of people tell me what makes us different. But why did you want to come work at Quaid Harley Davidson? Just for, there could be numerous reasons, but what appealed you to come work here when I think you probably could get a job at most Harley stores, if they're paying attention. There's a lot of stores. I don't have a lot of turnaround. I mean, I don't, so I'm particular. We're real particular on who we hire, because I'm into my customers, getting to know their people, my employees. So with that being said, I think you're an asset to my store, and I think that you can do this business a long time, and I hope you enjoy it. And if you don't, you're still going to be a friend of the store and whatnot. This is not a sales pitch to keep you here, none of that. But why did you pick Quaid, or what made you?
I've been a customer from Quaid. I mean, I've been coming to Quaid for a while, man, and it's like, for me, what made me come to Quaid was because first of all, I love the industry, and what better way to do it with a family-based, really family-based, true to its name dealership. I mean, I've been friends with Anthony, Jose, known you for years. You run with like Rabbi, some of the younger guys, Clay. So just that whole scene,
yeah,
it just ties into what like I guess my philosophy would be, because they're all having fun,
right?
They're all different people,
yeah.
They all come from different walks of life, but we're all brought together because of Quaid.
So like-minded.
Like-minded, man. Yeah. And it's like,
well, that's cool.
I was a long-time customer, and the family-based, the structure you have here, that's what brought me in.
Well, I appreciate that. That means a lot to me. Also, I think about you is when we talk about your first bike, where I'll troll it out. You have, how many bikes do you have right now, Rocco?
Right now, I have the Lowrider, the Super Glide, the Street Glide, the Road King.
Keep going. You got the FXR?
Yeah,
Is that the
well,
FXR?
the FXR, yeah,
Okay,
the
so you
lower
have four right now.
FXR.
So this
yeah.
guy, Rocco, he rides his bagger, but not true to my heart. He's an FXR guy. You guys know me. I love FXRs. My family, we all have them. I have 3. My dad and uncles. I don't know. We got probably like 6 or 7 on the grounds here. But so you're an FXR guy. You got an older Road King now. You got a newer Street Glide. What's your other bike you ride? I don't know. You got your son riding now too.
Yeah, the Switchback.
And you're a family man. How many kids you have?
Yeah, mine? Yeah, 5. 5 kids.
Well, you got your boy working here now.
Yeah, my son works here too now.
So he's a good kid.
Kudos to him.
Good kid. Everyone likes him, and he's working hard. But he just got him through school. He's riding now, so which is really bitching. No, I appreciate it. I'm glad you work for Quaid. I wanted to interview because I think you're very interesting. I think if anybody has questions, I think you can just direct message Rocco and he'll answer them. I think you know about damn near half of everybody in this. If I say you knew half of everybody in SoCal, that's a lot of people. And I think you probably know so many people in SoCal. So I think you guys should, ask whatever channels we put this on. But I think, people have any questions for Rocco. I could sit here and talk to you all day because you're an interesting guy. There's a lot more to know about you. But I think if customers want to get to know more about you, they need to come into Quaid. And he's one of my sales guys. And one thing about you, you've been a plug and play guy. You know motorcycles, and I watch you with motorcycles. You know how to move them. You know how to talk about them. I think you have a love for them, and that's the difference for me. And my Quaid difference is that my people, I think, have to at least have some passion, a little bit about my store, a little bit about this industry to work here. I think you have beyond passion about what motorcycling is and riding is. So
I've owned most models, and I ventured into my own personal in 2013 for a solid year. That's what I did out of my garage. I bought and sold bikes.
Really? Mm-hmm. So I've already been down the road.
Yeah.
So who knows how many motorcycles you own?
I've owned a lot of bikes.
Right. Well, I think I'll wrap it up because I wanted you to get to know Rocco. Hopefully everybody stayed and watched this. And if you didn't watch to the end, too bad for you, but you should because, I don't, at least I'm new to this, but I'm not dragging on for a long time, but this went longer than I thought, but I could keep going with you. So welcome to Quaid again. Thank you for working for us, Rocco. Appreciate you, my man. And this is Rocco in bike sales. So come see him, come buy a motorcycle from him. And we appreciate you guys listening. Thank you.
That's right, baby.
All right.